Now, the reason Zetron is doing it is because they are on the NENA committee. And they start making these rules for you guys. So that's why they're ahead of a lot of these other manufacturers, because they knew what was coming down the pipe. So they started this console about 3 years ago, building it from the ground up. So you're not only getting new equipment, you're getting a lot of new features. You really are the dispatchers need. So I guess, do you want to give them now or later? Is the real question again.
Scott, will it require internet access change at all? Are we going to have any additional cost other than the system itself?
No, one of the benefits, as he brought up, we've talked about with the 911 system, being able to go to Allen County, DeKalb County, or wherever. We had to go there and we ran our CAD from there and we ran our 911 because it could come into there. We could also plug into their network and continue with our radio. If they didn't have our frequencies, we're kind of stuck without that. If we're forced out of that basement for some reason, flood, whatever, fire, flood, or whatever, we could still, as long as those servers that are there, the radio equipment's there, isn't taken out by it, we could still function. Now with 911, we could function anywhere. We could at least take the calls, you know, but CAD, if it went down or the radios being down in the basement, of course we can't do that. And in the scenario where we're forced out because chemicals from a building there on Main Street or something like that, where we're forced out of the building, we could continue to work. So.
Now you want a preset place to do that. You know, like this,
sure.
Say this room and I plug into that plug right there, I know it's going to work. You want that free defined.
And we can do that with our Mego phones. The ones we showed you, we just plug into a network, they could reroute it to that phone, and we can continue to take 911 calls that way too.
So you're kind of following the phone system.
Sure.
The system, really what you're doing. Good question.
I don't think there's any question as, you know, we'd like to have the newest and the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, we're trying to be the best stewards of the county's monies here, and I don't know, what's your thought, Tom?
Well, it seems to me it's the same feeling. You know, in 8-10 years we're going to be back with another, but we got to get it up. And if we look over 10 years and figure out what it costs the county per year for that protection, which we have to have, and I would rather spend a lower amount, but in the long run, I'd have to vote for the upper account because we might lose it. And the council's gonna have to find the money. I appreciate the presentation ahead of time. If we can get along and throw it in, I don't know, what year budget, which we don't have anything to say about.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, we got enough on our plate. But if I was to vote today, I would vote for Tom.
Don, what's your thoughts?
I can't see anywhere where we have $260,000 to spend. I just can't, I can't visualize it. We've got so many projects coming up. Sheriff's got projects coming up. I don't know where we'd ever find, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but this is a classic case where we should have had all these projects put together in one bundle and gone for a bond project or something. So the second thought is, regardless of which one you do, and I know Ted touched on it, and he's right, they're going to have to go to bid. Even the 83 is over the 75,000, so they're going to have to go to bid. But I literally can't figure out where we'd ever come up with, you know, let's say we go to bid at 266, whatever it was. 266 turns out to be 225. I have no idea where, I can't see that money anywhere in any of our systems, so just,
Do you guys lease, you can lease this thing? Just a thought.
that would be a determination of the county council.
Just an idea.
Well, I understand, you know, last time they talked, they said no to lease, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't consider it, so. So I guess you asked, in my opinion, it's, we'd have to go to bid on either one of them, really, there's nothing we could say yes or no to right this minute. Well, we could say no, but we can't say yes, so.
Ted, on that, on the $80-some thousand one, can anybody else bid on it?
Zetron dealer.
Because that's what we have, and that's
Yeah.
what we're upgrading to get to that point. That's what I was wondering on that.
See, now here's where I become confused, okay? And I'm sorry for my technological ignorance, but essentially what you want to do is go from XP to Windows 7. Now you tell me, why can't we just go from operating XP to Windows 7?
Because this, okay, you can do that in the computer, then you gotta get the software on top of that for the XP, for the Windows 7 to talk to the back room.
And that is if the machine can handle Windows 7, not an 8-year-old machine. I'd be really surprised if it could do it.
Okay.
Did I answer your
When you upgrade, you can run this process through Microsoft just to see if your machine can run Windows 7. 8 years, I'd be really surprised.
I guess I'm gonna go off with nothing.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Are you?
I guess my biggest concern is that we spent 83,000 now, and then we ended up, you know, are we really saving anything if in 5 years we end up having to spend the 266 after we paid 83 right now?
Depends when you wanna spend it. Depends when you wanna spend it to something.
Right,
3 years or 10 years. Right?
and the way technology's going, 10 years, there's no way.
You have a choice. You're lucky you have a choice.
I thought we were on a 5-year rotation for computers. I thought that's what we're supposed to be doing, so why are their computers 8 years old?
No, the sheriff's department isn't part
I
of
was
that.
gonna say, I think that's within the department.
Well, which brings me back to, why not? Why aren't we all under one system?
But, yeah, that's one that they're putting on with that.
Let me say something for you. You're right, they should be replacing these computers every 5 years. Even if the RXP or before this, so you had
That's what we're doing in the
hard
rest of the county. We're on a 5-year rotation plan
I
for
agree
the
with
rest of the county. Why is the sheriff's department different?
And in this case, it would be a lot more money because once again, somebody's got to reload it and everything. It wouldn't be just throwing another computer.
Yeah, you can't just throw a new computer on it. You gotta also have the software.
They're designed, configured, set up for the specific purpose. It's not used for anything else.
I understand that, Scott, but you're talking about 1 day to reconfigure the computer? I mean, it's done every day.
Yes, I do that, but this isn't, they're gonna charge us for it too. It isn't just me doing it, it's gonna be Jim K or Zetron to
configure, yes.
So,
Don, are you talking the 5-year rotation or just desktop computers throughout the different offices?
CPUs?
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind is that all the computers that we buy, with the exception of some of the things in dispatch, but all the other offices I buy out of commissary money. It doesn't come out of budget money.
Well, I'm sure we'll have further discussions. I just wanted to bring you up to par of what we need to do, okay?
What we can expect, and
Yeah.
maybe the consul will write a personal check. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
everything.
Put it on the wall.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.